here's a maybe atypical application for it. Yep, turn it on, push that button. I am cleaning out the chicken coop. And these are always really hard to get. But wow, this makes it a lot easier. Lift your feet up. Woo! Woo! Keep going. Keep going, Brenna. I'm here. Hi. Keep sucking. All right, get that stuff over there. Woo, good job. The vacuuming required to empty this out consumed about 8% of the battery power. But that's not all I have to do here. This door here on the end, it sticks. So I need to sand that down some. What's the easiest way to sand that down? Belt sander. 5.3 amps. Let's see if it does it. Oh yeah, not a problem. Better. Right there on that one. All right, I'm gonna set the phone down so I can give it a good jolly ho. Another 4% of the battery consumed. When I was operating that, it was going up to full 600 watts, so it was reducing the voltage to operate that. I didn't really notice it lacking for power though, so it must have been running nearly full voltage. And now the door shuts on its own. Well, the hinge isn't perfect, but... And now, of course, because it's not pushing down on it, now the latch doesn't shut. Here's another example of how I use it. Wow, that really doesn't like to show up on the screen. It's not flashing like that in real life. So my tractor is not charging correctly. So this is a very crude setup to charge the battery. I set this at 14.3 volts and it's putting out 67 amps, or 67 watts, 5.1 amps into the battery. I don't know why the charging system is broken. I think there might be something wrong with the stator. Whenever I connect this, it drains the battery. So something's clearly wrong somewhere, and I have no idea what it is. I'm printing an impeller for a viewer. And another thing to point out about this power station is that this is being powered by the power station. You know, you'll just have to trust me that This is the power going to it. Just follow the extension cord. There we are. There's no AC plugged in right now, and I'm doing, well, it's full-ish, and the cloud just came out. Between 50 and 200 watts of input, 40 and 200 watts of input, 60 some output. And that actually spikes up momentarily as the bed heater, see there, as the bed heater turns on and off. But you can see that it would run it for 36 hours in its current state, as the output is more than the input. And then when the input goes up, it flips back to time to full. And boom, we're at maximum solar input through here. This is I think it's an XT60 connector. I have it running down to my solar panels that I have connected with 4-way parallel connectors, and they're just sitting on an old pallet until I get them mounted on these rails. And well, you see that corner shaded a little bit, and there's bird tracks and bird poop all over them from the chickens. These are 100 watt panels, okay? This has a 200 watt input. Why do I have 400 watts of solar panels on 200 watts of input? That's because I don't get a whole lot of sun here. There's trees on both sides, and those block the sun anywhere except there. And I want to harvest all the sun that I can, especially during inclement days. So when I get these mounted on here, hopefully down further in the yard where it's more sunny, I will be able to get more power on inclement days too, where it's cloudy. Solar panels are kind of boring, but this is one thing that I have to make them a little bit more excited. It's just, if you're planning on solar panels, just over panel the system in parallel, and during those few hours of the day where it is complete sun and good sun, well, you're going to be wasting some power, but when it's not good, you'll be capturing even more power than you could otherwise with just 200 watts of panels or 100 watts of panels. I'm just letting this run the way it is for now during the day, and then this evening I'm going to plug in the power cord, in there, and that'll run it overnight, because I don't think I have enough battery power stored up to run that print, because that print's going to take 34 hours to complete. But I did test this out. If I have a power interruption, at least with my printer, it does not trip out, because that power station has a 20 millisecond switchover time to go from grid power pass through to battery power. And that 20 millisecond gap is not enough to stop my printer. Just real quick, here's a video of the behavior. So this is the power plug that's going to the EcoFlow River Pro through the C13 charge port, and well, here it is. So I just plugged it in, the extension cord, and I unplugged it. So you see my printer doesn't seem to care. You can see the lights flickering. So that's how it behaves during a power interruption. I should say, if you're using that EcoFlow or any power station as a uninterruptible power supply mode functionality, just double check that it works with your system before you start a long print. Just print something small and try it, so you don't lose something that's more valuable. So while I'm not using my solar generator like camping or whatever, I'm using it as a backup power supply or an uninterruptible power supply. A low quality uninterruptible power supply, because there is that 20 millisecond gap. If you're wondering what this is, that's just what it uses to first purge the nozzle at the beginning of the print. Come on, there we go. I have a few of them. Here is another thing I was curious about. Will it make popcorn? This popcorn maker is rated at 800 watts. And this is only a 600 watt inverter. So, you know, when we turn it on, it's just going to trip out. Oh, I got to make sure the output is on first. There we go. See, didn't like that. All right, let's turn it back on. There we go. Also, they updated their app, so it has a power output. This is my old phone, which does run the app, but my new phone running the Android 11 beta does not run the app, so that's why it's out here. But what we can do is turn on XBoost, confirm, because this is a dumb appliance. I have faith that it might work. So now XBoost is on, and this is going to ramp up to 600 watts as this puts out power. If I can hit the switch. There we go. And one thing I was concerned about is, will the popcorn be stirring around in there? And it is. And of course it's getting hot too. Power output with something in the USB port, I think, is allowed or takes away from the output, but I'm not sure. I'll have to test that. Okay, it does appear to be working just a little bit slower than normal. By about 6/8. Or you might say 3/4, by about 3/4. It's slower. Okay, it's not perfect. I had a jam, and I had to manually stir some out with a knife. The popcorn, once it got full, it didn't want to blow out because there's not enough airspeed. So these are the ones that are left, and I think that maybe they are not fully popped. Okay, I was making a second batch, and here's what I was talking about. It doesn't want to flow properly. I'm going to take this off because it's all melted. Whoops. Remember guys, a falling knife has no handle. So I have to stir those out. And now it's going. Fortunately it's spilling them. And now it's stuck again. So this is a good example of XBoost isn't perfect even with dumb appliances because your fan speed is less. You know, it's 3/4 the normal fan speed, which in a fan might be everything. And of course it just keeps spitting them out. And all the kernels that are left in there are burnt. Pour our melted butter on. There we go. And now this stuff is called Flavical. I'll have a link in the description. This is the actual salt that they use in movie theaters. A little half teaspoon there will be just right. Give it a little shake. Give some to the dogs. I'm doing it one-handed, and there we have some good popcorn made using the power of the sun and 13% of the capacity of this. Tastes delicious. Now mind you, that was 2 batches in this, which it's like a medium-sized bowl. Overall, I would not recommend this popcorn maker. It does work, but it's not perfect. Just as this, it does work, but it's not perfect. Everything is has some amount of flaws. And here we are charging back up with my 4 100-watt solar panels that are filthy because of chickens. And it'll be full in... Sorry, there's a lot of reflections here. Shut the door. There we go. It will be full in about an hour at 150 watts. Munching on my popcorn here, and in case you guys were curious, this is a commission video that I did. You can see it has 3,500 views, and this was actually through an ad promotion, which is that link there, which had a surprisingly good click-through, I think, because it's, 3,500 views here, and I have 441 clicks, and somehow recently I got 1 order. So I do get a small commission on these sales, which doesn't cost you guys anything but helps me out. So I just thought that would be something interesting to show you a little bit on the back end. This is Z-Banks, and they offer partnerships for multiple different manufacturers. There's EcoFlow, and I don't actually recognize any of those. Oh wait, they make lasers. I think I've heard of them. Okay, so that's it for this video. Please do consider purchasing using my link if you are interested in buying one. Thank you, and that is all. Goodbye.